Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 74 of the All Dolphins podcast. Omar, you're going to love this one. This one is dedicated to a member of the Unicorns, Jermon Bushrod.
There you go.
Okay.
Most respectable offensive line the Dolphins have had in 20 years. 2016 led them to the playoffs.
Absolutely. And with that, Omar, I'm going to let you introduce our guest for today's episode of Behind Enemy Lines.
Yeah, today's episode of Behind Enemy Lines is a friend that has been around for a while, Tom Curran, NBC Sports Boston Patriots insider. You can find his good work on NBC Sports. He does a podcast as well. I joined this podcast for a very riveting AFC East conversation, which, boy, you might want to redo that conversation now because the entire landscape of the division has changed with our man Aaron Rodgers going down with a season-ending Achilles injury. I wrote a column for alldolphins.com earlier in the season, and I projected that this go-round with an old Green Bay Packers quarterback is going to be a pretty much a duplicate of the last go-round when Brett Favre was there and injuries sort of took him out. This is what happens when you have a 40-year-old starting quarterback in the NFL and a bad offensive line. He's done for the season. Now the Jets are in panic, and the entire division still pretty much up for grabs, especially since Buffalo lost to the Jets. And Mr. Zach Wilson, Tom, how do you see the division stacking up?
Yeah, the landscape totally changed at about 8:15 on Monday night. In more ways than one over the next 3 hours. And it had already changed, I think, pretty drastically on Sunday in watching how the Patriots performed and how the Dolphins performed. But to watch what happened to the Jets, which immediately makes them from a team that had maybe a ceiling of 12 wins to now I really think their ceiling is going to be about 8. That's their ceiling now. So that changes everything in terms of how you interplay and whether or not the AFC East is still what it was. And then you watch the Bills perform as they did and see just how much Josh Allen didn't get the memo to cut the crap at the end of last year and has actually only worsened in terms of freelancing, in terms of fundamentals just don't really matter. I'm going to wing it. I mean, that was just get out of there with the win. He kept them afloat to a point where Zach Wilson can beat you. So that altered things. And the way the Patriots played, I mean, if you want to say it, honestly, I think soup to nuts. If you watch that Patriots game, you'd say New England might have had the best performance of all 4 teams. Again, I didn't watch the whole Dolphins game, but they let up 34 points. But I'm saying the Patriots might have had the most impressive performance across their thing, except for the 16-0 deficit.
Yeah. When you talk about the Patriots, obviously, and I've heard you've been one of the individuals who kind of hints that Bill Belichick might be on the hot streak. This taking down Don Shula isn't a guarantee. What do you think it would take for Belichick to not return to New England after the season?
The Patriots being held hostage by inefficiency, lack of quality control, poor coaching, showing no improvement whatsoever from the 2022 product. It's less about wins and losses, Omar and Allen, and more about which way the arrow's pointing. We became accustomed, all of us, to patriotic football. From 2001 to 2019, even into 20, they didn't beat themselves. They didn't take penalties. They lined up in the right spot. They took advantage of you on special teams. They understood time, score, and situation. Last year, they might have been one of the worst teams in the NFL situationally. You had your best offensive player, Ramondre Stevenson, throw the ball backwards over his head to your second best skill position player, Jacoby Myers, who immediately turned and whipped it backwards 40 yards to your first round quarterback who got stiff-armed through the earth's core. Now, why was that? They all know better because they didn't trust their coaching anymore. So that is, to me, a smoking gun of a complete and utter rebuffing of the coaching that Bill Belichick was giving. And people don't believe that. They don't understand that. They think it's heresy and sacrilege. but it was one of the worst coach teams in football. So to save himself, all he has to do is get back to showing a semblance of IQ. And they kind of didn't do that for a large portion of Sunday. They did and they didn't. They did and they didn't.
In that vein, how much of a difference can Bill O'Brien make as the new offensive coordinator? An offshoot of that question is, I think I read somewhere that Mac Jones played at the same college as Tua Tagovailoa. So where is Mac Jones in his development? I know he threw like 316 yards. We obviously focusing on the Dolphins game. Are there high hopes for Mac Jones taking another step as a quarterback, and how much of that can be because of what Bill O'Brien's going to bring?
Yeah, definitely high hopes. I honestly, and I know we're on a Dolphins podcast and people are going to bristle, I think Mac Jones is better than Tua. Now I continue to have.
Milo, you've done it. Oh, Omar,
I know.
Omar, tell him the hell is in for. Come on.
All right, go ahead. Let's hear this. Let's hear this.
If you put Mac Jones in Miami, I think you'd get the same results, maybe better.
Who was holding the clipboard for Tua back when they were at Alabama?
Oh, but he was
No. I'm talking about now. If you put Mac Jones in Miami.
Okay, well, Tua still developed as
Tua,
well.
Yeah, no, I get that. I totally get that. It's an opinion.
Okay.
I think Mac Jones is probably more accurate than Tua. I don't think he has the same arm strength. I think Tua has a stronger arm, believe it or not. I don't think Tua is accurate. I think that obviously Mac Jones is more. I don't think he's terribly accurate. Watch that Steelers game last year. He was a friggin' disaster.
No, that was a bad game. He played.
I've never seen anything like that from Jones. But Jones has a noodle arm, so that's a problem. But he's also a friggin' genius. And they're probably both about the same level of mobility. So potato between those two. Really, it's potato.
One was a top-rated quarterback in the NFL last year, but
Yeah, I know. One also had two of the best friggin' wide receivers in the NFL, arguably. And he actually had a coordinator, not somebody who's just pulled off the street from the sub shop and said, put down the sub. Why don't you call some plays? I mean, basically that's what happened.
Yeah. So, what was that about? The hiring of
that was about, Alan, good question. I'll give you the quick and dirty on this. And this is why, again, Bill Belichick has to be entertained as somebody who's on a shorter rope. That's Bill Belichick underestimating how difficult it is to do other jobs. You know, Bill Belichick, whether it's Tom Brady or Josh McDaniels or Bill O'Brien or maybe Dante Scarnecchia, he'll speak about appreciation for them. And he means it, but he also thinks that everyone is imminently replaceable. And it ain't that easy. Just because you've been doing it for as long as you have, and just because you're a really good teacher and understand how to teach things, doesn't mean that when the kids come to you with really hard questions, you're going to be able to answer them. And I think that Bill thought, look, we know offense. We've been coaching around it. We've coached it. We've all had a hand in it. We'll be fine. If you don't have a friggin' doctorate, you're screwed. And there were people around the league who had been in the Patriots organization who were saying that. People devote their lives to offensive football coaching. And they're just going to grab somebody who's done the other side of the ball and just try and work. So that was a level of ignorance, for lack of a better word, of just how hard it was. It was a level of ignorance with Tom Brady. Well, why does Tom stink? Well, he's getting old. We can't do it anymore. I mean, goes and wins a friggin' Super Bowl, which is, again, helps to buoy my point about Tua and Mac Jones. Take Brady out of New England, where he's throwing to Chris Hogan and Philip Dorsett, put him down there. He's throwing to Mike Evans and Gronk and Chris Godwin, and Super Bowl.
Magic. Let me ask you about this Patriots offense. I know they didn't have that much success running the ball against the Eagles, but that's the Eagles. They've got probably one of the best defensive lines in all of the NFL. But what is the identity of this football team offensively?
They want to big brain you. They want to find the matchups. They want to motion. They want to use what you like to do against you. They were awesome, believe it or not, in the screen game the other day, which I thought was pretty impressive given that they had two rookies out there. And we all know how difficult it is to actually enact a screen game because it's a big friggin' dance of 300-pounders trying to find people in open space and hit them. So their identity is still whatever we have to do, we're going to be able to do because we are diverse. We're not impressive.
Yes.
But we are diverse.
we don't do anything well, but we do a lot of different things. I need to ask you, speaking of the Patriots offense, about our old friends, Omar, our old friends Mike Gesicki and Devontae Parker. Now Devontae didn't play in the opener because of a knee injury. I know us in Miami are completely shocked that he's having injury.
Shocker, what a surprise.
I know.
Devontae's hurt.
Saw Gesicki with 3 catches, I think maybe for 36 yards or so, played like 33 snaps. What's his role going to be in the offense? And there's a ceiling for him. And then is Parker on track to play Sunday night?
Too early to say on Parker. Obviously, as you guys know, they'll start the practices Wednesday, so I can't really tell. I haven't seen him around the locker room much. They have the kid Kayshon Boutte from LSU running in his spot, and I know that he had a couple of mistakes that Dolphins fans might not know about in terms of being on the sideline and being out of bounds. One was a critical 4th down play. He was out of bounds, didn't get his second foot down. I didn't think it was as egregious as Patriots fans are making it out to be because he got pushed in the back. And Mac Jones throws the ball at 41 miles an hour, so it takes a long time for it to get there, which screws up the timing of the entire thing. But he's still better than Tua. But I think that I think Gesicki's going to have a nice role here because he's such a hybrid in the way he does things.
And what about his blocking shortcomings? You don't worry about that?
Haven't come to the fore yet. Maybe it's mitigated by the fact that they have some maniac blockers at wide receiver and they can just send those guys to do that dirty work. But yeah, it's going to be important. Can he be a representative blocker? I ask you, can he do some of
He's a volleyball player playing football, and that's just the reality of it. He's a glorified slot receiver who's slow, but can high point balls. I'm very curious and very interested to see how the Patriots utilize him and also how the Dolphins play him, knowing his limitations and weaknesses. Because to be honest with you, I'm not defending him with a linebacker, and pretty much I'm blitzing anytime. I'm blitzing his side anytime he's on the field because he can't protect. He can't protect it.
It's interesting because you look at what Belichick generally falls in love with. It's anybody who scores a touchdown against his team.
Pretty much.
No matter if it's Chris Hogan or Mike Gesicki or Nelson Aguilar from the Super Bowl, bring him on. He looked okay against us. So, but I thought Gesicki had upside. Made some stupid good catches during training camp. Stupid good.
Oh yeah, he could do that.
They need an athlete. Look, Devontae Parker is not an athlete. He's a contested
ball catcher.
Yeah, and you can't have that. I mean, as we saw, and you guys know the numbers too, he's last in the league every year in separation. So you better be a contested catch maker. So
no,
they need somebody to be able to make the rare catches that a DeAndre Hopkins makes that the Patriots took a pass on. Those rare catches that, okay, my guy just threw it up there and he made the catch. Why did he just throw it up there? Well, because my guy couldn't run past the other guy.
What about Juju though? You don't see Juju having a higher elevated role in this offense?
I was surprised that he played so little. Boutte played more plays than he did, and he wasn't on the field at the end of the game. I thought that Juju was fine in training camp, and I thought that he was out there enough. And when the ball went to him, he caught it and he made positive yards with it, and it looked the way it was supposed to. So, but I just don't think he's going to be anywhere near what Jacoby Myers was. Jacoby Myers is an 80 catch guy for 750 yards. And it's hard to say that Juju can't do that.
He's done it in his career.
He's done it. He's done 1150 and 90 and all that stuff. But we continue here in New England to absolutely hate, loathe, detest the idea, not of Juju, but of moving on from a valuable undrafted player who had so far in his career in 4 years collected $6 million from the team. 4 years, he made $6 million. He gave you 3 seasons of 80 catch production. Did everything you wanted him to, played 16 games all the time. He was the kind of Patriots success story that you're like, why would you not want Jacoby Myers? And then the Patriots move on from him, sign a guy who's got an injury history, who didn't come up with the team, give him the same amount of money. And why did they do that? Because Juju was good against the Patriots when he played them. I mean, it's like the wandering eye. Oh, wow. Look at that.
No. I say this all the time, and I've said this even when the Patriots were having a Super Bowl run. Bill Belichick, the GM, does not do Bill Belichick, the coach, any favors.
No.
as an organization, I think they're probably the most poorly run organization when it comes to drafting and free agency and talent evaluation. And you're right. If all you need to do to be signed by the Patriots is to have success against them. So you're basically picking up the leftovers of the AFC East every single year, or the AFC every single year. And I just don't know. I think Bill Belichick, the GM, is going to get Bill Belichick, the head coach, fired.
Yeah, and fired is strong, especially given the improvement
You think he's going to be forced to walk away? You think they're going to Don Shula him?
Yeah, if it wasn't going to get better this year, there was a very high chance of that. If it didn't get better this year, but I sense that it's going to get better. I think the Patriots are a double-digit win team. I thought that before what happened last night, and I still think that. So,
and this is because of defense. Because
you
think they have
it's not defense. The defense actually surprised me. I thought the defense was a smidge overrated coming out of last year, because they got torn a new one every time they saw a decent quarterback, whether it was Lamar Jackson or a mobile quarterback. Lamar Jackson, Justin Fields, Josh Allen embarrassed them a couple times. Kirk Cousins threw over their faces all night long. But they are
still hasn't taken a loss to Bill Belichick, by the way. You've got to factor that into your equation.
They're going to sign him next. But I think that my logic was, okay, the Patriots were 10-7 with Josh McDaniels and Mac Jones in 2021. They have a better roster. Mac's going to be better because he's 2 years further into the league. Plus, he has the resilience and understanding built in. So with Bill O'Brien here, they're going to be a better team. So I was going kind of X plus Y equals Z, and ignoring the schedule. I was blindly ignoring the schedule and saying, I don't care. If they won 8 games with Matt Patricia, they'll win 10 or 11 with Bill O'Brien.
That's fair. That's fair reasoning.
Quick one from me on we mentioned the defense, and Mike McDaniel poo-pooed the idea of coaching matchups and strategy one against the other, because he basically said it's on the players. It's disrespectful to the player. Well, sorry, I'm gonna go there anyway. How would you evaluate the chess match between Bill Belichick trying to stop Mike McDaniel's offense?
I mean, on a surface level, obviously, Mike McDaniel, I can understand what he's saying, because every player has rules to follow once he sees something on the field. How quickly does he see it, though, is somewhat dependent upon the coaches and whether or not they prepared him for that. So when the Patriots go to a 0 blitz, which they did the other day, and I'm not Mr. X's and O, I glaze over because I'm not expert at it. But they went to a 0 blitz, but they played man behind it. That was unique. And it kind of effed Jalen Hurts up. He's like, what am I looking at? And he didn't take advantage of it. When the Patriots send Christian Gonzalez on a corner blitz, when they're not a team that uses a corner blitz very much. Yeah, that's Christian Gonzalez carrying out the play, but it's a coach deciding, because he saw it on film, to exploit it. How can the Patriots neutralize Tyreek Hill? Which, as you guys will do this week, we'll look back to Kansas City and see the games when the Patriots did pretty well against Tyreek Hill. And there's also games where you can see Tyreek Hill embarrass their ass. They are not going to want to get embarrassed by Tyreek Hill. That has been the strength of the Patriots. Take away the best thing that the other team does. So that's coaching. That's coaching versus coordinator. Because if Bill says, I'm going to do that, or Steve Belichick and Gerard Mayo say, we're taking him away, well, then Mike McDaniel and his coaching staff is going to have to say, all right, Tua, it's going to be a big Jalen day, or it's going to be a big Mostert day. I don't even know who's active and not active right now. Yeah, I love their running back. I love their running backs, by the way. I love Miami's speed. It's terrifying. I just love speed.
Okay.
Oh, then you came to the right place.
You're a speed whore. That
I am.
You're right along
and the Patriots.
With Daniels.
The Patriots have finally had it dawn on them that they can't be out there with their really big brains, linebackers and safeties who are just lumbering around with, I shouldn't be standing here. I should be chasing that guy because they're too slow. So now they're faster, a lot faster.
Yeah. But yet they re-signed Raekwon McMillan, another former Dolphin who's not exactly known for his speed.
I don't give a shit. I like him.
Okay.
He's a nice guy.
No,
I
he's
like
a nice
him
guy.
too.
We like him too.
I don't know if he's fast or not fast. The poor guy keeps getting hurt.
He's not fast.
No, yeah, he's not
I
fast.
know,
But
I know.
yeah, unfortunately. Well, Tom, we definitely appreciate your
Hey,
time.
thank you,
for
guys.
joining us. Anytime you need me, you know I'm here for you.
You've been
So
great.
holler, and we definitely appreciate you breaking down the Patriots for us. That's Tom
Yeah,
Curran
thanks.
with NBC Sports Boston Patriots Insider. Tom, appreciate you.
Thanks for letting me out early. Let's do it again.
All right.
Absolutely. Omar, we're going to continue this.
Yeah, let's continue it, Tom.
See you, boys. Thanks. That was fun.
Yeah, speaking for myself, I absolutely do want to see Devontae Parker play Sunday. It would be such a shame if he didn't, you know. No, I'm serious. I want to see Parker and Gesicki, a big part of the Patriots offense in this game, and you know, have the Dolphin DBs match up against those two guys.
I don't even worry about Gesicki when he. I mean, I don't worry about either of those when they play. So I think it would be. Who scares me is guys with speed. Devontae doesn't have speed. Mike, I'm not really even worried about him. I'm sticking Jerome Baker on him. Hell, I could defend him with Andrew Van Ginkel. He's locked down. I don't see that many difficult matchups for Miami in this game. Stevenson is probably, if they can get that run game greased up based on how the Dolphins performed in the season opener, then I'd be a little bit alarmed, a little bit worried. But to me, this battle is going to come down to Mac Jones being able to carve up Miami's defense in the secondary. And I don't have confidence in that. Whereas Tua is 3-0 against a Bill Belichick team. And, that's something that's pretty impressive and should be hopefully continued this Sunday.
Okay, it's actually 4-0, but this is
4-0.
But this is where I'm going to point out that again, one loss record. The Dolphins in two of those games had 3 takeaways on defense, and one of those games they rushed for 250 yards, and another one of those games they rushed for 195. Yeah, you can roll your eyes all you want, but those are facts, and this is not like. You want to see something new from Tua? Have Tua be the difference maker in the win over the Patriots.
Yeah.
And I'm going to fire a preemptive shot. No, I'm not taking a shot at Tua, who had a fabulous game against the Chargers. But if we're going to go, he's 4-0 against the Patriots. He was a starting quarterback in the 4 games that they won against the Patriots, and was the determining factor in probably 0 of them, if we're going to be honest.
Okay. Quarterbacks. There's a reason that they keep win-loss records associated with quarterbacks.
Aaron Rodgers is 1-0 with the Jets. We're going to go there. I mean,
wow, are you really?
Okay. Then if you're not going to give him the win, we're going to give the win to Zach Wilson. Was Zach Wilson really impressive Monday night?
No, he was not impressive, but it's a win on his record in terms of guys who wins of games he's played. Here's my issue with Tua. Yes, Bill Belichick is going to try to take away what he always makes you play with your left hand. Well, you're left-handed, so he'll make you play with your opposite hand. Whatever you want to do that you're comfortable with is what he's going to take away from you. Obviously, an idiot can figure out he's going to try to take away Tyreek Hill, which means he's probably going to jam him at the line and put a safety over the top of him. Okay. Well, that should technically open up the field for Durham Smythe, for Alec Ingold, for Raheem Mostert one-on-one, catching passes out the backfield. And then there's Jalen Waddle here. Not only just Jalen Waddle, but you saw River Craycraft, Eric Uzukama get off. They all had productive plays and productive experiences in that game. So and you've seen it. Tua can read defenses. He can figure out. He can go from his 1 to 2 to 3. It's easy work for him now that he's in his 4th NFL season and really he started what accounts to about 3 seasons of NFL games. So he should be able to figure out what the strategy is and know how to counteract it.
Yeah, but that's not. As you like to say, let's not pretend, though, that it's as simple as, okay, they take Tyreek away, so every time I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 progression, I'm going to hit. It's not going to be as easy. I don't think it's going to be as easy for the passing game as it was against the Chargers. Quick point to something discussed maybe 5 minutes ago. I'd never said I was worried about Parker and Gesicki. I'm interested in seeing them because they're former Dolphins. That's all. Also important to point out, if they focus a lot on Tyreek Hill, and you mentioned Jalen Waddle, absolutely. And you recall, if you remember Tua's first opening day start, one of his first long passes was a completion to Jalen Waddle. And then last year was the big offensive play in the win at Hard Rock Stadium in the season opener. Was that 4th and 7, I think it was. The slant to the Jalen Waddle that went for 40 yards on the touchdown. So yeah, this could be a game. Waddle was going through some things, and this is something to keep an eye on this week, again, because of the importance of Waddle. If the Patriots are able to take away Tyreek, good luck with that, by the way. Is that Mike McDaniel indicated after the game and on Monday that Waddle indeed is dealing with something. I don't know if it's still the oblique, but there was some pain involved. Hoping for him to practice during the week, but obviously it's something to monitor.
Something to monitor. If he doesn't play, or if he suffers a setback, could this be a Robbie Chosen elevation? Or are we looking at riding it with Cedric Wilson?
That's a very interesting question. First of all, there wouldn't be an elevation unless Waddle winds up being inactive, and we're going from played with pain to not playing at all. That would be a pretty depressing development if that were the case. But you make a very interesting point that I don't think it's a slam dunk that it would be Cedric Wilson because he's on your 53.
Yeah, no. Here's the reason why I do bring up Robbie Chosen, because for the speed plays that the Dolphins use to stretch the field, to open it up for everybody, and to create the element of threat, you don't necessarily, I hate to say this, do that with River Craycraft. You don't do that Eric Uzukama. You do that with Robbie Chosen. And I hate to disrespect River Craycraft, because Lord knows, like, I gotta put some respect on that young man's name, because he's very good at what he does and what his role is. I just don't know if he's that deep threat that you need to keep this offense going.
No, correct. No, and then I mean, all respect to River Craycraft. This is a guy. I remember when the Dolphins signed him, like out of San Francisco last year, and it wasn't like a typical UFA. This was in January, February. They signed him, and I was like, and I tend to know my players around the NFL. I'm like, River Craycraft, who the hell is River Craycraft? And it didn't take very long to realize. I mean, no offense, it didn't take long to realize that. Yeah, this guy is a dependable guy who's always going to be where he's supposed to be. Knows everything on the offense, and it's very clear Mike McDaniel likes the guy a lot. So I think he he's going to have a role for a while. He's just not
just Mike McDaniel. Hey, Tariq made him the #1 draft pick in the receiver room.
There you go.
Yeah. So yeah, and I thought they did a phenomenal job blocking. I was very impressed with what I saw from River Craycraft and all of the offense. Now defensively, with Hunter Henry and Mike Gesicki, the one concern I do have from a defensive standpoint is how will Miami contain New England's tight ends? This is tight end coverage needs a little bit of work here. I'm not necessarily certain that you have the pieces or elements that you need to cover a tight end one-on-one, unless you're going to have, let's say, Javon Holland fill that role.
No, correct. And the Chargers are not a team that necessarily throws a ton to the tight end. So there was, I know Gerald Everett caught a couple passes, and Parham had the one touchdown catch, but there wasn't a whole lot of damage done there. I think based off of what we saw against the Chargers, to me, the number one concern on defense has to be, is the run defense, going to rebound after what was a very poor showing, because the Patriots, who didn't necessarily, as you mentioned, didn't necessarily run very well against the Eagles, but the Eagles defense is just, I mean, the Eagles are a Super Bowl team for a reason. So that would be my concern there defensively, is can the run defense get solidified and not let New England control the ball the whole game. Interesting comments, by the way, from our friend Tom there about the quarterback situation. And then
hey.
No.
I'm not even going to tell Tuanon where to find him.
No. And he said
they will find him.
He said what he said. And speaking of quarterbacks, obviously, think about Aaron Rodgers.
I think it's blasphemy, by the way. Mac Jones can't even hold to his clipboard, in my opinion.
Speaking of quarterbacks, to me, as a guy who enjoys watching football, this is what we do for a living. it sucks when really, really good players get knocked out for it. It sucked when Jalen Ramsey went down. It sucks that Toronto Armstead didn't play Sunday. It sucks that Aaron Rodgers out for the year. It sucks that Von Miller's out for the first 4 games. And
these things happen though.
oh, no,
This
I
is
am.
part of the league.
You understand that. My point is though, with the Jets, I have a hard time seeing them sticking with Zach Wilson unless they know something we don't. And that something would be that he's ready to take a major step forward, which, judging by the one pick he threw last night, I don't see. So I kind of get the feeling they're going to maybe they're going to make a bold move. Heard Phillip Rivers' name being thrown out. That was an interesting one to me.
What?
Remember, Phillip Rivers was ready to come back for the 49ers.
But that was on the West Coast. Remember, he's got like 12 children.
Lives in Alabama. He's in Alabama. Unless
he's in Alabama now. Okay,
yeah, I'm severely mistaken.
Phillip, yeah, I mean, okay. Remember, this is a guy who still lived in San Diego and bust all the way to LA.
Right.
During the whole season. That's a great name. I think Carson Wentz can help them. I think you maybe make a call to Matt Ryan. I pray and hope, and I doubt, but they kick the tires on Colin Kaepernick. Wouldn't it be nice to see him play, or at least get a tryout?
Would love it. I think there's zero chance, but I'm with you.
I mean, there's no reason if you're gonna test out some old quarterbacks, why not? But I get it. It's in the New York media market. Yeah, nobody wants to do that.
No, there are peripheral issues involved there.
Yeah. Even though there shouldn't be after all these years.
I agree.
But hey, it is what it is.
First place, but that's a different story.
Now, the question is, can they ride out the season with Zach Wilson? And how long, if they did add another quarterback, would it take for that quarterback to get his feet under him in that offense? And I don't think it happens just overnight. Josh Johnson, I've heard him mentioned by one of my former colleagues, who he said he played in that offense with the 49ers. He should know it. He should be able to quickly adjust to it. But Josh Johnson ain't saving your season. So it'll be interesting to see how they figure this out and what they do in order to continue to move their aspirations of what they want to achieve forward. They got the first win, and that was a colossal, monumental win for the Bills, because they're going to have to account for it when the season, at the end of the season. And right now, personally, it leaves the Dolphins in the driver's seat for the AFC East. And take care of business, and the division probably should be yours, unless some injuries happen and you don't, you should be right now viewed as possibly the front runners of the AFC East, because that Bills team, people have been warning me, they're not the same team that they once were.
Well, here's the thing though. If the issue with the Bills, and this is why I don't dismiss them just yet. The issue with the Bills is going to be, can Josh Allen simmer down and stop trying to be a hero every game? And am I wrong? I mean, and that's because
he plays hero ball.
Well, but that's the thing is he's got to trust the people around him. He does not have to do everything all the time. And then because they had that game won yesterday, and it's 3 picks and a fumble that basically handed the Jets the game. The Bills are very, very good on defense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think their running game is necessarily that great. Stephon Diggs is a great wide receiver. They have 2 very good pass catching tight ends with Dawson Knox and their rookie Dalton Kincaid. It's incumbent upon Josh Allen to I'm sure he's going to be told time and time again, stop trying to be a hero all the time. And with the Jets, I don't think they don't need necessarily an Aaron Rodgers, because it's also a team their defense is no joke.
They need a Matt White.
Mike White?
Mike White, yeah.
That's funny.
They need a Mike White.
Manager. They need a game manager, somebody who's not going to lose them the game.
Chris Greer, tell him call me. I'll let him.
Joe Douglas is calling some other GMs around the league. I don't feel he'll call Greer. I can't imagine the Dolphins would even entertain helping a division rival, but hey, you never know.
Hey, be a great way to unload $4 million from next year's cap. But thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Always checking out the All Dolphins podcast. You can find us on YouTube and on the web. You can go alldolphins.com. You can find our written work. And we definitely want to thank Tom Curran, who joined us today for the Behind Enemy Lines. And you can find us on Fans First Sports Network under the Miami Dolphins Insiders.
All right.
Where you can find all of our work on the podcasting streaming. Poupart, always a pleasure. And
Right
see you
back
tomorrow.
at you. And tomorrow the work week begins. First injury report, first practice of the week. We'll have a lot to discuss tomorrow.
Will Teron Armstead show up for practice?
Stay tuned. Find out tomorrow.
All right.
Later.